Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, at least I remembered.
Yeah.
Oh, Albert, can you unmute yourself, please? I can't do it.
There we go.
So I did try after I forgot to unmute myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to a Wednesday evening with...
My name is Albert S Rosales. I'm
Yes.
retired. I was in the U.S. Navy for 5 years. I was in law enforcement 35 years after that and retired. I retired right before the pandemic, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
2019. And I've been interested in all kind of weird stuff since I was a little kid. I was born in Cuba.
Yep.
And back then, there were things that would occur to me which I didn't know what they were, and that piqued my interest later on. And I started remembering stuff that occurred to me back then when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it seems to me when you're younger, a lot of more or less stuff happens to you, and a lot of it you forget. Maybe you remember later on, but a lot of it you never remember again. And I'm sure a lot of stuff happened to me which I don't remember. I started getting more into the UFO angle in high school. I started collecting cases even back then. Later on, I just concentrated in the incidents that involve what I call humanoids, creatures, UFOnauts, entities, all types. They don't have to be extraterrestrial or whatever they might be, but that's what I collect nowadays.
Yeah.
That type
What was your first experience that you can remember then?
Oh boy, it was kind of a paranormal thing. I lived in a place in a city, Santa Clara, which is pretty old. It's like the Spanish were there, they founded the place. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And one day, I was walking through the hallway, and there was a large mirror in the hallway. I was maybe 6 years old, maybe. I looked up at the mirror, and there was somebody there at the mirror looking at me.
Wow.
And what I remember was it looked like a guy with a beard. Remember the Spanish used to wear the beard?
Yes.
And he looked like he had a helmet, some sort of a metallic helmet with the middle, which what I remember, and he was laughing or smiling at me. And I looked, I just couldn't make heads or tail what was going on. So I ran back to the kitchen and told my mother. Of course, she dismissed it. that's the little thing. Every time when you're a child and you see stuff like that and you tell your parents, 99% of the time they're going to say they're going to dismiss you. They're going to say, no, it's a dream. Or so she didn't believe me. And I remember that's one of the experiences that I remember quite clear. And this person, there was no interaction, but he was like looking at me and laughing.
Right.
Like, and he looked at me like your stereotypical, like Spanish soldier of the era. Back when they first landed and then discovered the New World, back then. And after that, I always, for some reason, in my house there was an old encyclopedia, and I was one of those kids that I will read through the whole thing. And I got to a section which involved elementals or fairy type creatures, and I saw the images, the drawings of the creatures of the elementals, and I was extremely attracted to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful images, or like fairy types, gnomes, and all type, and that for some reason interests me a lot. Back then, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old that never heard of that before. But then after that, I migrated to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and in Spain, I lived in Madrid for a year or so. I don't remember anything happening over there at that time.
Yeah.
But then we we migrated back to the U.S. And there I began having all other experiences as a young adult.
Were they mainly what you would call sort of ghostly?
Yeah, I will encounter what they call shadow figures.
Right.
Which terrify me. I'll be sleeping and I look up and I see something darker than dark.
Yeah.
Standing next to the bed, and I will scream and I will yell out, and I will. I had no idea where they were. I would assume that they were. I would assume that I was dreaming. I remember I had vivid experiences that the night terrors that you couldn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could hear everything. I could hear everything around me.
Like paralysis.
Yeah, sleep paralysis.
Yeah. And one time, this is really weird incident. I was already right before I joined the Navy. I was in my room, and all of a sudden I will try to scream, and I couldn't. All that came out was a little wee.
Yeah.
And I was in my paralysis or dream state or whatever it was. The door opened. This door led to the backyard,
Right.
patio,
right.
And a woman walked in, dressed all in white, blonde hair, and she was carrying what appeared to be a torch. It looked like a torch. I don't mean a flashlight. I mean a one, with fire, a torch.
Yeah, torchlight, candle type torchlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she stood there, and I was just terrified. I didn't know what this. And next thing I knew, she was gone. She looked like somebody I knew, but no, it's similar to somebody. Blonde, wearing like a white smock or gown.
Yeah.
And after that, I joined the Navy. There, I had a couple. It was a funny thing when I was in boot camp in the Great Lakes up there near Chicago.
Yeah.
Cold as heck. I'm from Miami, Florida, so it was freezing. Right now, I'll tell you, I was one night I had the guard duty in the barracks.
Yeah.
Of course, I always got stuck with a shitty guard detail. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't like me. Anyway, I was, my guard. This guy, one of the my buddies there, he wakes up, and he's an American Indian, Navajo, and he comes up to me and he goes, "You hear that noise?" And then I listened, and there was like a tapping noise. I go, "What is that, House?" That's his last name was House. I can't remember his first name. He says, "Come with me. I have to show you something." So we go over to his, what we call a locker, where we kept all our stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a tapping coming from inside. And I go, "What is that? You got something in there?" He goes, "No." He wouldn't speak much. He goes, no. And then by this time, all the guys were waking up. They were all coming over to listen. And we looked under it. We picked it up, and it was still tapping. We opened the door, and there was nothing. And, tap. And then he goes, I know where it is. I go, okay, why didn't you tell me before? I go, that's my grandfather. I what mean your grandfather? I go, he's come here to say goodbye to me. I just found out he died 1 or 2 days ago.
Right.
I go, well, thanks a lot. So I just walked away. Should have told me that before I go in there looking for your dead grandfather.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a weird thing. And when I was there, I remember I used to be subscribed to an old UFO magazine here in the U.S. called Saga UFO magazine.
Right.
And my parents used to send it to me up there in the Great Lakes. And one day they called me, and the master sergeant called me in. And I wonder what they're calling me for. What did I do now? So I went in there, and he was going through the magazine, looking at it, and going, "Oh yeah, that's mine." I goes, "Why are you reading this?" I goes, "I'm interested in it." Well, for some reason he disapproved a lot.
Right.
And he goes, "Okay, you could keep it, but don't show it to anybody else. Just put it away." So, okay. And and that later on, when I did the case summaries, I found out that in Great Lakes, in my boot camp, there's a lot of stuff that has happened there. Right before I went in there, or right before I left there was an incident. Some guards in the perimeter encounter what we call nowadays a dog man, or something that, according to them, this creature was bipedal, over 6 feet tall, and his head looked like a dog, or what they call it was the Egyptian god Anubis. Anubis, a pointed snout, and he was prowling outside the perimeter fence. Ooh. That's one incident, and that's right there in the Great Lakes. There was another incident that supposedly, this is from a guy that used to, Stringfield, some American researcher. He will research supposedly crash retrievals of UFOs and entities. According to him, in Great Lakes in September of '73, they were storing a UFO there with crash entities that they recovered. And this is 2 years before I was there.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they didn't.
Wow.
They didn't want to stir the pot or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, something's just popped up at the bottom.
Yeah. Where's Vega?
Oh, that's somebody here in Miami Dade that I know. And my did he say something, or did he?
No, he's just popped up at the bottom where we are at the bottom. It's not connected though.
Oh, okay. Maybe he wanted to listen to it, and I gave him the link.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that link is for you to come on.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that? Oh.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, fine.
Right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
He said, okay, all right, thanks. I gave him the YouTube.
I can send you the link on Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that now. If you want to carry on talking, and I'll send that across, and you can send it to him.
So was there any more weird stuff while you were in the Navy then?
After that, I went to a couple tours in Europe. My ship, I was in the U.S. in a destroyer tender. I was a radio man. I was in communications.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were docked in Palma de Mallorca, and I was up there we had a detail. We were cleaning the antennas or something. I don't know what we were doing. I looked up, and I saw what appeared to be two silvery craft. I don't know how far away were they, but they appear to be hovering. This is near the naval base there.
Right.
And after I looked at them for a while, they just flew away. I was the only witness, and nobody else saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I've just sent it. Sorry, I've just sent you the link on Messenger. So if you want to forward it to him, that'll
Okay.
take him straight. That'll take him straight to YouTube.
To the normal, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look at it, and I'll do that.
Yeah, you're okay. Sorry,
There
I
we go.
should have explained earlier.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna send them the. Okay, I'll send them the link.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you were the only one that witnessed it. Were there other people around that just didn't see it? Because that seems to be quite a common thing.
There were two other people, but they were inside, and I was outside.
Ah, right, yeah.
But I know what you're saying. There's been cases with some people see it and others don't, and they're right there.
Yeah.
In many incidents, maybe a UFO or an entity.
Yes.
Let's say there's a group of 5 people and only 4 see it.
Yeah.
Or only 1 sees it for some reason. Yeah. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting stuff.
It's almost like you pinpointed it just to be you that sees it.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, they choose you to be the witness.
Yeah. Makes you wonder why.
I don't know. I'm trying to do this.
I suppose you need to. Do you think it's a trust thing? They kind of like they fix on a certain person, maybe watch them for a while, and then think, yeah, they're good to go.
I have learned that over the years that if you usually the people that has an encounter in the early years of their life, they continue to have encounters after that.
That's true.
It's like a repeat stuff. I mean, they will have further encounters.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. Back then in the 60s, people that claimed to have repeated encounters were not believed. They were like, no, that's impossible. You can't see UFOs twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So then you moved on to law enforcement. Did you come across anything really strange there? Any strange reports or sightings or?
Yes, I did. I'll tell you right now that one of the interesting reports that I got, I didn't take the call myself. A friend of mine did.
Yeah.
It was during what we call the third shift, which is a midnight from 22:30 to 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This incident came out in the newspapers and everything. I used to have the copy of the police report because a police report was made actually. There was a security guard at one of the shopping centers down what we call South Dade, off of US 1, the road that goes to the Keys.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He was patrolling the shopping center. He said he turned a corner and he saw 3 what he called creatures standing in the parking lot. He said they were tall, almost 7 feet tall.
Wow.
Large heads, and huge cat-like eyes they had. And he back then they didn't have cell phones. It was back in 1989 or November 89. He ran over to this. There was a phone booth there, and he called 911, which is the emergency number here in the United States.
Yeah.
And he got our center, and he reported 3 suspicious persons. That's what he called them. When when the police got there, he explained to them what he had seen, and he was he made a drawing. Let me see if I could find the drawing. I could put it in the column there in the remarks so you guys could see it.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. And the police actually they searched around. Of course, the creatures were already gone. They couldn't find them, but they did file a police report. I remember having a copy of that police report. I don't know what happened to it. I think when I moved out of my, fortunately, when I had a divorce, I lost a lot of
Right.
papers. I used to have the early reports that I used to have with me.
Yeah.
And I think I lost it. But
Right.
here I found a picture of what he drew. I don't know if you guys get it in the chat now. How can I send it to you guys? I'll send it to you in Messenger, so you can see
Yes,
it.
do that.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if you
There
send
we
it
go.
on Messenger, and then I can put it up on the screen then. I
There we go.
was going to say that, but I was seeing
Yeah,
which way you was going with it.
and here's a little short summary of it too. Very interesting case, and he called the police, and in that area in South Dade, there you go. There have been a lot of in an area called Black Point, which is what we call is near like a dump site and the water plant. There's been a lot of reports of Bigfoot type creatures, or what they call here in Florida skunk apes.
Yes.
And there's been police officers that have been encountered, and one of the most famous ones is in 1975, which that's a drawing of a security guard, what he saw.
Wow.
You see the cat-like slit eyes?
Yeah, slits. Yeah.
I'm just trying to zoom in a little bit.
It's kind of a cross between an alien and a cat person. Yeah.
what we call a gray and a
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a touch. There we go.
Oh, it's weird. And how tall did you say they were? About 6-7 foot?
He said it was almost 7 feet tall.
Wow.
And there were 3 of them. There wasn't any interaction or anything like that. They just stood there, and he ran, turned the corner.
Yeah.
And he came back. They were already gone.
Wow. Well, it makes you wonder if you'd have looked up if there'd have been some sort of craft hovering. I suppose if you come round a corner and see 3 of those, you're not going to be looking in the sky, really, are you?
No, maybe there was a lot of these entities. A lot of them are encountered, and there's no craft in the area or anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, a type E, close encounter of the third kind.
Yeah.
Which is when they encounter a humanoid or entity, but there's no craft involved. I mean, let's say you're in your bedroom and you wake up and there's 3 figures standing there in your bedroom looking at you, and they're obviously aliens or entities. But that's what I call a type E. Those are bedroom visitors.
Right.
Creepy ones.
Right.
That just gives you the creeps, though, thinking about that.
Do you want me to put the information you sent as well?
Their summary. Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to send the information to my buddy here. Go ahead.
What are you putting
I'm going to put it in the chat.
Right.
Okay.
But I need to do it in 2 parts.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because there's only limited.
You're limited to 200. Right. What I'll do, I shall.
Right.
I'm going to copy it and paste it into notes and then share the notes on screen.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And that way, present, share screen.
So did you kind of get involved in like, what's the word? Investigating and stuff like that? Nobody can't really see that, Andy.
I know, I'm just going to change it a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. You can see it a little bit. It's kind of it was south of Miami. It was December 8, 1989.
Right.
December 1989, towards the end of the year, starting in September, that's when they had that huge UFO wave in Eastern Europe.
Yes.
And the Boros nets in Russia, and all over Eastern Europe, exactly around the same time when the Iron Curtain, as it was back then, began to fall.
Yes.
And let me I'm sending my friend. I sent it already, but he hasn't gotten it yet, so he won't.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, and that's one of the cases. But like, there was a lot of cases in the UK also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UK, there's for some every year there's a lot of cases that I collect from the UK.
Yeah.
Even my latest summaries are from 2016 to 2022. I already picked up some from this year, and I got some from the UK.
Yeah, we do have a few, but we don't get to hear about many of them over here. We usually find out from somewhere else that we've had some sort of event.
Yeah.
And the heyday of encounters there, humanoid and entities back in the 70s, 76, 1977, 78, 79. Of course, 1980 when they had the Maritime encounter there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Should we do a couple of questions?
Sure, yes. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Just let me... I missed one of them. Right. So, well, we'll go to this one first. It's from Rick Allen. So when that guy said about his grandfather had passed a couple of days ago and he was knocking when you was looking for where it was coming from.
Right.
Yeah. Rick put, was it Morse code?
Morse
I don't
code
know
from
what it was.
You never know.
I don't. Maybe it was Navajo, because sometimes they do communicate using some type of code, tapping sound. But I don't know if it was Morse code. No.
Okay.
I can tell you.
No worries. Right. So, first proper question then is from Rick Allen. Does Albert believe everything is connected, as in the paranormal?
I think there's a lot of it. Yeah, it is I believe so. I think UFOs and other type of phenomena are indeed connected in certain levels.
Yeah.
And in certain ways. And back then, at the beginning, when people will report like possible paranormal activity in conjunction with a UFO sighting, it wasn't really taken seriously and they were disregarded. Yeah. But I think there is a connection somehow. I don't know if I can't say the all UFOs are extraterrestrial.
No,
I don't know. Maybe there's some. I don't know. I think there's mostly we're dealing with entities coming from other dimensions, interdimensional.
Yeah.
Parallel worlds, parallel universes. That sometimes there's an opening, crossover, and they come in, crossover. And sometimes we could go there, but sometimes we don't come back. That's when we get a lot of people that disappear and stuff like that, or maybe they're found later or whatever. But I think most of our visitors here, I call them visitors, but they've probably been here longer than we have.
Yeah, probably.
From other dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Next question is. Okay. Are you doing it?
I was just going to do that. Yeah.
Oh, go on then.
This one's from Nickname. Hi, Albert. Does any of this field interest and experiences run in your family?
My parents didn't like to talk about it. Mom and dad.
Yeah.
They were usually dismissive of it. I suspect that my dad did had incidents. He was a Freemason. I don't know if that has any relation, but he never did like to speak about it that much. My mom, no, not so much. Now my grandmother and her sisters, they will sit with me and tell me stories. They lived in a farm out back in Cuba, and they will tell me incidents that had occurred to their family members, like my grandfather. I could, right at the top of my head, to my grandfather, back then in the farm, the only way to move traveling was the horse.
Yeah.
He was he was going somewhere. It was early in the morning, maybe 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And he arrived at a field, and there was a huge, what he called a ball of fire, hanging over the field, just hanging there. To him, it was like huge, and it was like a ball of fire, and then his horse wouldn't move. The horse wouldn't advance.
Right.
And something illuminated him, and they spooked the horse so much that it turned around and left.
Yeah.
Didn't come back. Did not want to go out again the rest of the day. That happened to my grandfather and my mother's side.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there is some sort of connection then.
Yeah, and the great grandfather used to have a sugarcane plantation in the same area, and one night they were patrolling. They would go out there patrolling with the machetes and a horse. They were all in a horse, and they came upon a right at the edge. There was a path at the edge of the sugarcane field.
Yeah.
To them, it looked like a big bag, white in color, or some kind of form that resembled a bag or a big bag, like white in color, kind of a little bit glowing a little bit. And he had a gun. The horses were terrified. They didn't want to approach, and they were like mean and stuff. And so he took out the gun. He shot at it because he didn't know what it was, and that's our normal response for us.
Well, yeah,
we'll shoot something. No, we don't know what it is. So he shot at it, and this is a weird thing. Every time he shot at it, it will go bigger, and it got so big that it almost reached the top of the horse. So the other guy fell over and the horse took off, and the other guy took off running. So he was left there alone, and finally his horse was able to move, and he took off.
Yeah.
And this is a story that I was told. They told me the story many times. Yeah. And this happened around the turn of the century, last century. I mean, maybe 1900, 1901, 1902. Maybe a little later, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Of course, they will. The only thing they could compare that to, that they would think it was a ghost or something. I mean,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
So do you get a lot of reports in Cuba?
There's I do have a lot of reports from there. There's actually a book out in Spanish about incidents in Cuba. There was a big wave of UFO encounters in Cuba in the 1990s, from 1992 to 96. A lot of incidents. Now you hear, once in a while, you do hear cases, but there are a lot of cases from Cuba.
Yeah.
There's they actually have publications there, but from groups like private groups, but it's really almost impossible to get a hold of any of their magazines. I used to have a couple. I have copies of some of the magazines.
Yeah.
And they mentioned one case, 1964, a long time ago. This is at a tobacco plantation in the center of the island, Matanzas province, I believe. And one of the workers, usually after he finished working, he will go to one of the tobacco sheds and rest in there.
Yeah.
To sit down and eat his lunch or whatever. And one day he walked in there, and when he did, there was something there, or somebody. He said it was a creature, maybe almost 6'2". 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And large eyes, brown in color. He doesn't remember he had any clothing, but he had eyes were like slanted, pretty big. And he grabbed his machete. Everybody has a machete in Cuba.
Yeah.
So he lifted his machete, and then at the same moment, the creature emitted like a he could only compare it to like a sonic scream,
right?
A shrilling noise.
Yeah,
it was so loud that his nose and ear started bleeding. Ooh. and he passed out. He went unconscious. Woke up later, he was still bleeding a little bit. He went to get the other people. Of course, when they came back, they looked around. This time they were armed with shotguns.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find anything. But the guy swore up and down that's what happened to him. And they couldn't explain why would he be bleeding out of the ears. Unless you haven't, he didn't, there was some kind of, you heard something supersonic or something very close.
Yeah. Wow. That's a bit scary.
That was like a defense mechanism then. for
Of
the
course,
beating.
of course, yeah. He saw that this guy was probably attempting to
Kill it.
kill it or attack it, and it defended itself. Thank God it didn't kill him, because there've been incidents with this happened when somebody will shoot at an object stupidly.
Yeah.
And there's this famous case from Brazil. He lived in a 67 in a ranch, and he had a small airfield. He went out this morning, one morning, and there was a cigar-shaped object and several figures moving around. They looked like men, no hair like me, and they were wearing tight-fitting green suits. And of course, instead of going up to him and going, "Welcome," no, what did he do? He grabbed a gun, rifle. He shot at him out of the object. At the same time, some thin beam of light struck him, knocked him down.
Yeah.
When he finally recovered, the humanoids and the object were gone.
Yeah.
This guy died about 2 or 3 days later.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. And this is one of the many cases that I know of.
That's why you shouldn't shoot at things you don't understand.
Yeah. Just like walk away slowly.
Yeah.
Like some of the Bigfoot researchers, they tell me, look, if you go out into the woods and if you encounter one, do not try to attack it.
No.
Do not try to shoot it or stab it. Not even try to take a picture. Don't try to take a picture, because they don't. Supposedly, they don't like that either. So.
No, they don't.
Right. No, I'm guessing not.
No.
No. So, have you had many your own personal encounters?
Yeah, later on back in the 80s, when I came back from when I was already out of the Navy, late 80s.
Yeah.
I was it right now or right before. I started having a lot of also again I started having a lot of shadow figures in my room. I remember this apartment that I lived. It was like crazy. It was almost every night, and to me it looked like the shadow figure of a woman. It looked like a woman, dark, but you could tell the shape of a woman.
Yeah. And
I would scream, and I would throw a pillow at her, and then my wife will wake up and wonder why I was screaming. Yeah. But she didn't see it, and I'll be the only one seeing it. Talk about the devil. There she is. And yeah, and one time I saw this figure, and it was like hovering on top of the bed. This is real weird. Yeah. And it was a female figure, and it was wearing like a polka dot dress. Right, this time it wasn't dark. It was a polka dot, white and red. And it was so real that I was already awake. So, but this apartment, there was something going on there, because there was a lot of stuff that happened there. One of my sons was there one time with a computer, and he felt like somebody standing behind him. You know, when you feel somebody right behind you, and you turn around, and of course nobody. And that happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah.
And one time, this is another mirror thing. I walked in my room, and I looked in the mirror, and there's something or somebody in the mirror. It looked to me like a figure of somebody wearing rags, or like brown, some kind of brown smock or something, but it was kind of torn. It was
shredded,
raggedy, looked shredded. And I just looked at it and just walked right out. I didn't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this, when you experience something like that at that moment, you don't know what you've seen, or you don't know what to do, and usually you just don't know how to react, and you either walk away or and forget about it for a while.
Yeah.
And
that's your fight or flight, though, isn't it? Just
yeah. And another time,
you don't know what it was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can't really fight it because you don't know what you're fighting with. So
no,
the easiest thing is just to
retreat,
kind of get out of there.
But I think what it was in that apartment, it was something to do with definitely a woman, a female spirit or whatever it was, because On one other occasion, I was like laying on the sofa, just watching a little television, and the hallway that goes to the bathroom, this figure just flitted by. It was looked like a woman, long hair, white, kind of smoky. You couldn't see it too well, but
yeah.
After a while, we moved out of there, and this new house where I live now, I have had a lot of night terror events.
Right.
A lot of shadowy figure event, and when you wake up and there's somebody standing next to your bed, and for sure there's something. I look up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrifying, but it's kind of slowed down now, thank God.
Yeah. I can't think of anything worse than just being confronted by somebody stood at the side of the bed. I've seen things moving at the end of the bed in the dark, and I've thought, that's me going to sleep now.
Yeah, it gets to a point that you don't want to go to bed.
No.
Can
you imagine?
Well, I had it the other week. I forgot to tell you when I seen you the other day. I was laying in bed. I always wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. And I woke up and it was rough. So where I'm sat, it's probably about 2 foot away to my left. And there's something stood there. And, it wasn't, I couldn't see the shape of it or anything like that. But just, when you, like you just said, there's something there. And I thought, I'm not even going to try and get out of bed because I've got to get through that, get out of the bedroom into the bathroom. So I thought, I can hang on for a bit. So kind of like went back to sleep. Anyway, I woke up probably about 40 minutes later. Nothing there. Completely different energy. So
it's like
it was very strange.
Have you ever been in a room in your bedroom that you wake up or you're there and all of a sudden the atmosphere changes and it feels heavy around you?
Yes.
Some kind of, it's like, and you try to get out and you feel like you were in slow motion and you're trying to get out. You want to leave there. You're like terrified of something. You don't see anything, but you just want to get out of there. And it's like you're like slow down for some reason.
Like wading through treacle.
And you finally run out and you don't know what happened. It's like, it's a terrible feeling, I tell you.
Yeah, it is. Not nice.
Yep.
Right, next question's from Rick. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rick wants to know how seriously does law enforcement take the paranormal?
Back then, when I started, not too seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I used to collect incidents. Everybody there knew what I did on my hobby, on the side. And one time I was doing more like podcasts or radio shows, whatever. And they called me up to the office and told me, if you do that, do not mention that you work for the Miami Dade Police Department.
Right.
Okay. So they now that they probably do take it seriously, but they don't want you to know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because a lot of the officers that I know there, a lot of them that I spoke to, reported to me a lot of encounters that they had during. I remember one sergeant that worked with me, and he used to work for the narcotics department, and they will have like stakeouts in the middle of the night. And he was in the area, on an area called the East Everglades, where the Everglades at it.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of nowhere. And they were looking up, and all of a sudden, to him and the other guy, that the stars blacked out that we're looking at, and it was like a shape like a boomerang, dark in color, just covered the stars, and it slowly moved over the glades. And this was back in they didn't have any cell phones back then, and they didn't have they were not able to take a picture, whatever happened, but it moved slowly over, and then it just disappeared. But he said it looked like a boomerang, dark in color, over the glades. And many other guys they used to tell me about their encounters.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you get many reports coming in while you was in police department?
Mostly the one we talked about, and there were a lot of reports of people calling in mysterious lights. Hey, there's a something that you guys know anything about something flying over here and over there. And sometimes if we get a lot of calls on it, we will call the traffic tower here at Miami International. Those guys wouldn't take us seriously anyway. So they go, no, we don't have any little green men up there. Okay, thanks a lot for your help. And
fair enough.
Yeah.
So did you not get many reports? Yeah. So do you know if you got many reports of like I suppose like cryptids?
And
like someone being followed and it didn't like a person or anything like that.
Cryptids? You mean like Bigfoot type?
Yeah,
Bigfoot,
Bigfoot, Dogman,
Reptilian,
Lizard Man, whatever.
I know. I know some cases here. The one I was Bigfoot in the area I was talking about earlier, Black Point Marina.
Yeah.
And that's an isolated area. People will go there and hang out. And one day there was a couple there, and they heard somebody screaming. A guy, it was a man that was screaming his head off. They got out of their cars. They looked. There was another path under them that people were parked there. Also, there was a car, and behind the car there was a tall, what they call a Sasquatch or skunk ape.
Yeah,
huge, and he was bouncing the car up and down. And the guy that was screaming was inside the car.
Oh no!
And he was, and then they ran out of there, and they got, they got the police. And they came back. The car was gone, and the Sasquatch was gone. But that's very. They wrote a report on that case also. This is back in 75. Wow. After that, they had a lot of incidents in the area of skunk apes, and there was a guy that was driving down to the Keys in an area called Key Largo, 77, 2 years later. And he looked to the side of the road. He thought it was somebody hitchhiking, and he looked up closer. It was like a big, tall, hairy. He said he would look like an ape.
Yeah.
Of course, probably not an ape, but that's what he looked to him. And another more recent report, trying to think what year could have been, maybe 2009. This is in an area closer to civilization. It wasn't not even down in the Everglades. There's a car. They stopped at a traffic light. It was kind of late, and all of a sudden something ran into the car to them, and they looked out, and they said there was a bear.
Right,
I mean, a bear, yeah. But no, to them it looked like a bear, but it wasn't a bear. And it scratched their car, and it took off. It walked away. And this is an elderly couple, so they were like terrified, and all they could think of was like a bear.
Yeah.
But in Florida, we do have black bears, but they're little, small ones.
Yeah, they're only little, aren't they? Yeah.
They don't usually go up to a car and crash into it.
No.
Like that.
No. Or scratch it.
Or scratch it. No, they're as far as Dogman report and that I know any personal here, I have reports of them, but not here from South Florida. I do have a report of a female involved, and she was what I call a repeat witness. She was at home one day. She was in. She lived in an area called off of Biscayne Boulevard, and she had an apartment there.
Yeah.
And one night she woke up and she encountered in her living room a figure of a woman, blonde-haired woman, wearing some kind of uniform, beautiful. And as she stared at it, the woman started transforming into what you call a green lizard or a reptilian. So this woman changed shapeshifter into a reptilian. Maybe that was her real shape. Who knows?
Wow.
That's freaky.
Yeah. I'd be, out of all them, I'd think the worst one to be would be the bloke in the car.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
That guy.
You couldn't. Where could you go?
He probably went there to relax, and all of a sudden,
just chilling, and your car gets bounced.
And you look up, and it's a skunk ape. And
your vehicle. bouncing your vehicle up and down.
Well, then you said they went back and the car had gone.
So he driven it off.
Did he? GTA.
And the couple that saw it, they were like terrified too. So
I can imagine.
I'm laughing now because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, whoever that guy was, he never came forward and reported the incident himself.
Right.
He probably was too scared or too ashamed. Or
but I was just going to say, a lot of people won't come forward because of ridicule, will they? So
yeah, but it's like, what could you say?
I think there's 50% of the incidents of the people encountered, they're never reported. They keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that we never do know what happened.
Sorry, I've got fireworks going off. Well, I haven't, but idiots outside have.
Oh. Fireworks.
We haven't even got to November yet.
We've got another week yet, a week and a half. But welcome to the UK.
Yeah, Rick's asked another question. Was there recurring phenomena at sea?
Near here where I live, right off the coast, supposedly that's where the Devil's Triangle starts, right there.
Right, yeah.
And there's many areas there that there's like a lot of magnetic anomalies that you out there, your compass is really, they don't work or they spin. And I know people that have seen a lot of weird stuff out there. That there was this guy that he was a personal friend of mine. He was out fishing again near the Black Point Marina, but more out to sea. And he said he looked over and he looked like he thought it was a whale next to approaching his underwater.
Yeah.
Dark, something huge. He said it was black, dark, and he terrified him. So he just turned on the motor thing. It started, and he just left the area. And there's another famous case that happened right off the coast of downtown Miami. And there's a bay there called Biscayne Bay, and people usually take their boats out there and watch the fireworks New Year's Eve or Christmas.
Yeah.
And this guy, it was him. He was a hotel manager or hotel owner in Miami Beach, and a priest, a local priest, Catholic priest. They went out to see the lights. This is in 1967, late December. They either wanted to see fireworks or the lights of the city of Miami, which is a beautiful sight if you go out there to the bay.
Yeah.
They went out there, and after a while, they called the Coast Guard. The guy sounded very concerned. The guy's name was Dan Burek. He says, we struck something, and they had a cabin cruiser. And I'm not taking on water, but I can't move. We struck a submerged object.
Right.
I'm not sinking. I'm not taking on water, but we struck something and we can't move.
Like they were grounded.
Yeah. He goes, we're right north of the first buoy, which is not too far from the coast. Coast Guard says, well, we'll be there to help you out. They got there in less than 15 minutes and knew exactly where the first buoy was, of course.
Yeah.
Nothing. The cabin cruiser, gone. Wow. Of course, they searched everywhere. Oh. They put divers in the water. It wasn't there either. So it didn't sink.
Right.
And guess what the name of the cabin cruiser was? The Witchcraft.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the name of the boat, the Witchcraft. And very famous. It was never found to this day. And I've been out there. Nothing was found. I've been out there to the area of the first buoy, and it's not really deep. It's less than 100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they never found it. It was never found. Some people claim there were. Who knows what happened to them? But
unless you were there, you're not going to know, are you? Just
I read
speculation.
I read about an account like that of a boat striking something metallic under the water and kind of getting stuck on it, and then it must have moved and the boat carried on.
That happened. I think that happened off the coast of California. There's another area there off of Santa Catalina Island in California, which there's a lot of underwater activity unidentified activity going on there.
It was Preston Dennett's book that I read. Yeah, that was all about that part of the coast.
Right.
Preston. I know Preston,
Yeah. Good book. Certainly made you wonder. And just some of it is mind-blowing. You're reading it and you're thinking, all these people that have just watched this thing. Oh, amazing. Good book.
Yes. Right. One more question and then we'll have a break. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one from Nickname. She would like to know, what is your favorite case?
I get that question a lot, and I have in my files, I have over 30,000 summaries. Okay, well, cases. It's really hard to answer that question, but I there's always one or two cases that or more.
Oh, what are in your top? One out your top 5 then?
Yeah.
Narrow it down a little bit.
Let me tell you one that it really always intrigued me.
Yeah.
This is back in this is from France. 1973, back in October. October 73 was very busy as far as UFO encounters, mostly here in the U.S., but in Europe also. There was a couple. They were out in what we would call here a lover's lane area. And they were there parked.
Same over here.
Yeah. Okay, and and for some reason UFOs visit those lanes a lot. But they were encrypted too. They for some reason there's some kind of attraction. I don't know what, but they were parked there on the side of the dirt road there, and they looked at a field. There was some snow on the ground, not that much, because I think it was late November or early December, if I find the case for you. And they see something descend on the field. It looked like a big dome, something shaped like a dome. It landed. It was pretty big object, shiny.
Yeah.
And after a while, an opening became visible, like a large door opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where it starts getting weird. Out of the door, there were 4 figures came out. These were short, large-headed, similar to what we call now the typical grays.
Yeah.
What I call Hollywood grays. And they walked around. There's a funny thing about the grays, I'll tell you later. But these 4 figures walked around, and they looked back at the object, and then 2 more figures come out. But these figures were totally different. These were like tall, men, 2 tall men wearing blue suits, like diver suit, blonde hair. They had long blonde hair. Okay, so we were talking 4 grays or similar grays, and now we're talking about 2 what they call Nordics.
Yes. Yeah.
Tall whites. And they walked around and they followed these other 4, and they started walking around the field. Well, the couple just sat there stunned, looking at what was going on. And then another figure comes out of the UFO. Now, this figure did not walk into the field, just stood next to the object as if it's guarding the craft. I'm going to send you an image of the incident.
Yeah.
This is not exactly what, but it's a similar of what they saw. And this figure looked like an ape, according to the couple, a large ape.
Right.
So I'm thinking a large Bigfoot type creature.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it stood there as is like guarding. There's the image here. And he stood there and looked around, but did not move anymore. And then after a while, the short fellows, they walked back into the UFO, followed by the 2 tall ones. Then the ape type creature walked in, it closed, and then they took off. And there were footprints found of all over the place later when investigators went to check.
Yeah.
I sent you the image. I could send you a brief summary of the incident also. But this is one that makes you think, wow, they do work together, and Bigfoot type creatures and UFOs, which I always think there has been a connection between UFOs and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I do believe Bigfoot is not a dumb animal. I think it's a very intelligent animal.
Yeah.
Perhaps even more intelligent than human.
Yeah.
Which is not, not a big thing.
Sometimes that's not hard. Though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. not difficult, is it?
No.
Not really.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you send it on Messenger?
Yeah, I did. I sent it on Messenger.
I've not got anything come through yet.
Let me see.
They might have to break.
Yeah, I'll close it and open it again.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I didn't send it to you. Oops.
Oh.
Somebody else has got that now.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I sent it.
Like,
you know what I did? I sent it back to myself. I'm sorry.
Well done.
Let me.
I do that all the time, and then wonder why no one replies.
Yeah, talking to yourself again.
Here's the summary.
It's coming through now.
There's the summary.
Right.
Let me send you the image. Yeah. I do that all the time, man. I thought I was computer savvy, but no, not really.
Yeah, the simplest things just go over my head. Right, so we'll head for a break.
Yeah, 1 second. The need to. Right, so I've got getting the text.
You got the text, okay?
Yeah, I've got the text. And then just going to forward that because Joe will break that down.
Okay, let me get you the image.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we go to a break while you send the image, and then we'll get that up ready for the second part.
Okay, go ahead. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, it just gives you that little bit more time, that's all.
Yeah.
No
right,
problem.
guys, going to have a quick, it's not, it's going to be a 4 minute break, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quick, it's not going to be slow, it's just, it's that. Right, so we'll see you shortly.
See you when we get back.
If I can find the video, I'll play it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Hey, right, see you in 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Right. And
And what that?
here is the image.
Oh,
An approximate, yeah. But yeah, 3 little ones,
Yeah.
2 tall ones, and there's the
Yeah.
ape right there.
wow.
Here.
That's a family and a half phone ship.
There's the crazy uncle here on the right, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. Imagine seeing that. Not just it's amazing to see a ship, to see a UFO.
right.
And then to see 3 greys come out of it, followed by the 2, you say the Nordic?
Yeah.
And then a Bigfoot type creature.
And then a Bigfoot. So you're getting 4 for the price of 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technically,
Well,
yes.
it's buy one, get 5 free.
Well, you're getting the craft, then you're getting 3 different species of humanoids.
Yeah.
Of some
I
sort.
wonder how they got so lucky, huh?
Yeah, no.
See that.
Maybe they just went around picking people up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll do.
Yeah. Come on, come aboard.
But get 3 of them, 2 of them, and 1 of them. No room for anyone else. Then we'll drop them all off in this field.
Yeah, maybe they have some type of like a United Nations thing or galactic union.
That's a point. Yeah.
It could have been.
Who knows?
Take your humanoids to work day, or
yeah, quite possibly.
Take your ape to work. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But imagine seeing that though.
I know.
You wouldn't know what to do, would you?
No,
really?
I like they say, only fools rush in. I won't if I see something like that, I wouldn't go up to them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to get close because they might interpret that as an attack,
as a threat,
like it's happened before, a threat. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will react.
Because you'd think you'd watch from afar, wouldn't you, just to see what they're doing and why they're there.
Most encounters, besides the abductions and stuff like that, are like that. You stay. Even though nowadays it seems like all you hear is abduction reports.
Yeah.
But there are still cases like that with close encounters and such.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you were going to tell us about the aliens, greys, before the break.
Yeah, the weird thing about the greys. Okay, I don't know if you guys ever read the book by Jacques Vallée, Passport to Magonia.
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay, Passport to Magonia. It has the at the end and the index a whole list over 200 close encounters with entities and landings and so on. So
right.
And also you got the book from the UK called The Humanoids, edited by Bowen, or I forgot. It was Gordon Creighton. They were part of the Flying Saucer Review magazine. They wrote a book called The Humanoids.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's also several lists of encounters there, entity encounters, a lot. And if you read those encounters, none of them describe what you would nowadays call a gray, a typical gray.
Right.
It seems like these grays are like a latecomer. They started showing up later on.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, even the Hill abduction, the creatures described there were not exactly gray. They were taller, of course, slanted eyes, but they had uniforms.
Yeah.
They wore caps and they wore uniforms.
Yeah.
They were not exactly the tall, big-headed grays. No, they were not. I think the first time that I read about it, because nowadays the people, they go into hypnotic regression and they go, yeah, I remember back in 1950 I was abducted by grays, but they only remember that because they were regressed. It's not because back then the reports that would come out in the 60s, 70s, early 80s, 70s, it were entities that dealt with all different type of humanoids.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, small humanoids, tall humanoids, the giants, or the
Yeah.
uniform. And now a lot of people think nowadays that the only aliens out there are the Greys, which is incorrect. And then you look at, when I say Hollywood, that's all they concentrate on. The Greys and the Greys and the Greys. And when I have somebody sending me a case, or they call me and they tell me, yeah, I was abducted by the Greys, I go, I usually take that with a grain of salt, because that's all they probably heard. I mean, the Greys, it's already maybe I don't know. If you call all in and report a Bigfoot running around with a hat, I believe that more than being abducted with a Grey.
Yeah.
But you don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe they're a new species that came in and took over. I go, yeah, okay, we're taking over the watch for Earth now.
Yeah.
You guys go on. We'll keep a few guys here. A couple of the Nordics stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, there's something going on, but otherwise we won't be sat here now talking about it.
Well, yeah. But it makes you wonder if it's kind of that snowball effect where people's accounts over time have kind of like got melded together, and this is the thing that it's created in the end.
Yeah, like a manifestation.
Well, back in the early 80s, the books, Whitley Strieber, Communion came out, and Bud Hopkins, Intruders, and these books started. That's when you started reading about the Grey type entities.
Yeah,
the ones like in the cover of the book, big eyes, and it wasn't exactly a Grey; it was a different color, but and even Travis Walton reported creatures on board that looked like Greys.
Yeah,
when he described them. And I do believe his account.
Yes.
I don't know. And for some reason, other countries, like when I look through my summaries in Russia, back in 89 through 91, there were hundreds of cases there. It was like at the same time that the Russia fell apart, there were like UFOs everywhere, it seemed like. And most of the entities, I say 99% of the entities reported, were creatures like, or human-like, tall, or humanoid. Some of them were 3 meters, 4 meters, 2 meters tall.
Yeah.
Very few of the accounts, almost none, reported, and I'm talking about 89 to 91, 92, were Greys.
Yeah.
Later on, they were started seeing that type of creatures also in Russia. For some reason, some other countries don't report as many Grey type encounters as much as the U.S.
Yeah.
Right.
South America is not that common either. They have all different type of alien encounters down there. I don't know.
Do you get many reports of reptilians?
Yes. And most of them are like neutral. They're not aggressive.
Yeah.
Some of them are the aggressive type.
Yes.
Yeah. Aggressive. There was the American researcher. She's an American Native American, and R.D. Six Killer. She wrote a book about encounters with reptilians. A lot of them were reptilians that occurred during Vietnam. And a lot of these reptilian encounters that she wrote about were underground. There was a lot of caves over there, a lot of tunnels, which is they used for transport or whatever. And a lot of soldiers reported to her that they had encountered reptilian type creatures down in the tunnels or in the caves, deep in the caves.
Yeah.
And that's the same also here in the U.S. A lot of the reptilians seem to be encountered in caves or underground.
Yeah.
I know reports in Argentina, in Europe, in Austria, a couple in the U.S. for some reason. I don't know if that's where they come from, underground, or that's where they come through. Maybe they come. There's a portal that they come in through, or who knows?
Yeah.
So I was going to say, so do you think that they live underground? But you already answered.
I'm not sure. I think they might be underground bases. There's the Puerto Rican researcher Jorge Martin that I correspond with a lot. There's an area there in Puerto Rico. It's called it's a mountain,
right?
Which they have on the top of the mountain. They have an antenna array belonging to the U.S. government. They have reports of underground bases there, and these bases are supposedly manned by humans and extraterrestrials or humanoids of different types. Not only grays, but there have been reptilians and other types that are reported there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do believe that there might be underground and underwater bases.
Yeah. So do you think all these different types of humanoids, do you think they have a connection, or do you think they avoid each other? Or what's your thought on it?
The different type of humanoids connected.
Yeah.
You mean?
Do you think they have communication with each other, or do you think they stay away?
No, I think that they do communicate. I think there is a connection. I think maybe some of them don't like the others or each other, but there's a connection. I think there's some kind of a structure, some kind of agenda, some kind of goal.
Yeah,
and involves all of them.
Right.
Maybe there's some kind of struggle between aliens from different locations, maybe from other dimensions, other universes, or other planets. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we're stuck in the middle of a. I heard people say we're stuck in the middle of an intergalactic
war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
I mean, we're talking now really out there.
Yeah.
So, well, that'll take us to then one of the questions. So I'll do this one first. This is from Ancient Ruby. So does Albert think that disclosure is coming?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. We have to be careful.
Yeah.
I believe so. Are they going to come out and say, yeah, we're in contact with 20 extraterrestrial races, that we have bases in the moon and Mars, and they come from some other dimensions too, and they've been here for 1,000 years, and what you thought was a god, it wasn't really a god, it was an extraterrestrial. I don't know if that's going to come out anytime soon.
No,
they're gradually saying, yeah, they're out there, UFOs, UAPs, but
just as for anything else going any deeper.
Yeah, they're just being drip fed what they want us to know.
It eventually is gonna reveal itself, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be out of their hands, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Another question is from Nickname. She'd like to know, being in comms, any strange data, i.e. radar?
You mean radar, UFOs cut and radar? That's what you mean?
I just think she means anything
she means.
Up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's.
Yeah, have you had any reports, or do you know of anything?
I heard and I read about reports of radar incidents, but like I say, my focus, my expertise is humanoid encounters, entities. I really don't follow the radar incidents, even though has been the recent ones there with the USS Nimitz and the so-called Tic Tac UFOs and the videos. But there's been a lot of credible radar reports of UFOs.
Right. So going back to your humanoids and reptilians, what's the scariest case for you if you get scared? That is, what's the most creepy account you've seen of something like that?
One that shook you.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
There's a case here that I investigated myself, me and another researcher. The late Hank Warbetz, he moved to New Mexico and he passed away over there. But we talked to a couple that lived in an apartment in North Miami area in the north section.
Yeah.
And one night, I think it was either the husband woke up in the middle of the night and he looked and there was some kind of portal in the bedroom, something square, shiny. It was like he could see something through it. And out of the portal stepped out a figure. It looked like, to him, it was humanoid. Wasn't a gray or wasn't a reptilian, but it was dressed in some kind of uniform and he had a helmet with a visor. Okay.
Right.
He couldn't see the face that well, but to him, he thought he was a human. He wasn't paralyzed. He was just too scared to move. The figure had something in his hands. It looked to him like some kind of monitoring something, like a remote control or something, but bigger. And stepped forward, and at that time, the witness went back. He frightened and tried to stand up, and this kind of startled the figure. This figure somersaulted backwards through the portal, disappear into the portal, and then the portal closed up like a TV, the old type TVs when you
it goes to the middle.
Then it disappeared.
Wow.
That's kind of freaky when you see something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Cool.
Cool, but freaky, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's just a lot of reports to say, I would imagine one of the scariest one if you encounter some kind of reptilian, just because of how they look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather be confronted by a short gray guy than a huge 8-foot tall reptilian.
Yeah, I think I would as well. The only ones I've ever heard of are being the ones that are really aggressive.
There's some reports of aggressive reptilians, and then there are other reports that I read of reptilians that are not aggressive, but maybe they're different. They're different types. Who knows?
Yeah, I was just going to say that different species, same sort of species, but different types of
Right, I was reading something. I was just going to say I was reading something not so long ago about the reptilians. Is like you've got the ones that are the angry ones that believe that Earth belongs to them, and you've got I suppose a nicer version of them that the more what's the word?
Passive.
Yeah. They're a bit more caring and they're not trying to scare you and all that.
Well, there's been cases of people they've been abducted by reptilians, and what the reptilians tell them is that they've been here way before we have. They've been on Earth a long time before the humans. It's that somebody else came down and created humans with a mix there used to be a hominid on the Earth. This is one of those
theories.
One of the theories, and they created men, and they made men smart, able to think, and that's why they supposedly jump in our development and the human.
Right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, we were like Neanderthal, and then suddenly there was
overnight.
And this is always something that archaeologists have never been able to explain.
Yeah.
There's that missing gap, that missing link, isn't there?
Yeah.
Definitely is. Yeah. Right. Next question then is from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Has Albert heard the accounts of there being pyramids in the Everglades?
In the Everglades itself, I haven't heard that. I heard that there's a hidden pyramid in an area up in North Florida called St. Mark's.
Right.
But in the Everglades, I have not heard of that. I heard that there's possibly unknown structures, possibly government related, in the Everglades, which I don't doubt. There's so much up there it's amazing. But to To be honest, no, I haven't heard about that.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next question's from. Oh, go on.
Oh, go on. That's right. I'll let you.
Thank you. Next question's from Blue Shift. Have you fallen victim to the hitchhiker effect, entity attachment? If so, how and how did you deal with it? I think that's kind of like being.
Yeah, when some kind of entity follows you and they becomes attached.
Yeah.
Thank God I haven't. I have read about it a lot.
Yeah.
The cases that I know about, or they have read or seen about, are usually handled by some kind of cleansing, or
ritual.
Actually some kind of maybe exorcism, because these entities are more like spiritual.
Yes.
From the spiritual realm than being from other dimensions or extraterrestrial. But no, thankfully I never had that happen to me. Thankfully.
Well, that's good.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Next one is from Rick Allen. Do the shadow people communicate with you telepathically? Struggled with that then.
The ones that I have encountered haven't communicated with me. Maybe they just stare at me, but I heard people that had experienced communications with shadow beings.
Yeah.
And what they think that most of these shadow beings are from other dimensions.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever encountered the Hat Man?
I haven't, but that's part of the shadow being phenomenon realm.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd ask. Do you think he's like the Hat Man is like the main guy for the shadow people?
What I heard of the Hat Man, supposedly he's evil or bad.
Right.
He's not a good. I don't know if all shadow people are bad, but most of them are associated with negative incidents.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, because I know it's supposed to be a bad omen, isn't it, if you see the Hat Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, but supposedly they're mostly negative. And people. I'm going to send you an image of a recent reptilian encounter.
Ooh, yeah.
So you can see what the witness drew, and a little summary of it.
Oh.
This supposedly this reptilian communicated telepathically with the witness, which was paralyzed in his bed. This happened back in 2016 in California. In California, I'll send you the short summary here.
Yeah. I'm just gonna while you do that, I'm gonna should be there we go.
Oh, that's scary.
See the eyes? How they resemble the ones that were seen here in the shopping center back in '89.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slit like a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Very prominent cheekbones. Well, sort of cheekbones.
Looks
quite
like
muscular face.
Stephen Gray.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
You just like
give him some hair and glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I don't know how I'd cope coming across one of them.
Did they say like the size of that or anything?
Let me look at the summary here.
The build of it.
I think it was pretty muscular.
I've just copied and pasted. Yeah, it does look. Joe's just putting it in the chat now. She has to break it up to, I think is it 50 characters?
200.
Oh, okay. So it won't take it. It wasn't that big. Maybe it was average 6 foot size. Yeah. It wasn't that big. But there are other reptilians that are reported to have been 10 feet, maybe 3 meters tall. Crazy.
Yeah. Staggering. Right. Next question's from Nickname then. Can Albert share more top cases, please? Any UK ones that have particularly stuck with you, I would think.
Let me see if I can find some recent ones from the UK.
Yeah.
From the 2016, 2022 summaries.
Yeah.
I know I got some. Wow. I got if during
Got a
that
lot.
time. Yeah, during that time, I have like 74 cases in my
Wow.
summaries. But let me find some because some of them are like short. Yes, let me find something interesting. Something with an image. I'm gonna find that. There's a lot of activity for some reason in Merseyside. That's
Right.
north. That's
All
north.
right.
Yeah,
Northwest. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not far from where I'm from.
Okay. There's a lot of activity recorded there.
There's usually a lot of activity around Wales. Wales is quite a hotspot for
Well,
UFOs.
There's
Merseyside is just north of Wales.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
in Wales also. Yeah.
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 There's
It's like, yeah,
let me
they
see.
border each other.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
You've got Merseyside, you go into Shotton, D side, you got an RAF base there, and then you're going into Broughton, I think it is, and you've got British Aerospace,
Yes.
not too far from there either.
There's a researcher there. His name is Lee Brickley.
Yes.
He investigates stuff in the place called Cannock Chase.
Cannock Chase. Yeah.
Yes,
And he's documented a lot of black-eyed kids encounter there in that area. Recent ones too, which are really creepy. We haven't mentioned those, but those things, I don't know. But if they knock on your door, don't never let them in.
I've just done a video for YouTube about black-eyed kids, and narrated a few stories. Yes, they're very creepy.
They're not. They're not.
Well, the first time, no, you don't want to meet them.
No.
But I'll just tell you quickly. The first time I went to Cannock Chase, the people I went with, I said, "Oh, we just go out for the day." I went to go looking for black-eyed kids, but didn't tell anyone till after we got there.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There's a case.
You didn't find any.
No, thank God.
No.
You know what? They're
find
gonna
some weird stuff, but nothing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find them. They're gonna find you.
Yeah.
Trust me. That's for sure. There's a case here from July 2016. Unfortunately, there's no image, but this is from a place called Kirkby. Knowsley, near in Merseyside.
Knowsley, yeah.
Knowsley.
Yeah.
July 2016, 1900s, a local man, Stephen, was out walking his dog, and in a secluded field, his dog started yelping. Looking around, he looked, and coming from the field, he saw a figure. He said it was a huge figure. He looked like it looked like a robot of some kind.
Right.
He said it was probably at least 7 to 8 feet tall. He had a bucket-shaped head, grayish body that resembled a suit of armor with circular joints and the shoulders, elbows, and on the shoulders, at the shoulders, elbows, and knees. The dog was so scared that it bolted away and left him there alone. He looked at the gigantic robot standing there with 1 foot over a hedge and the other in the field. He was watching him, and then he trotted away. And when he looked back, he saw what did he describe was now he saw 2 tiny figures standing next to a craft. He called it a craft that looked circular, metallic in nature. The robot was gone, but then there was a craft on the ground with 2 small humanoids standing next to it. Ooh. And then he took off. He ran away. I don't know if you heard of this researcher, Tom Sleeman.
Yes, I've read a lot of his books. Yeah, he's from Liverpool.
Yeah, he does investigate. I mean, for some reason, if all the stuff that he documents coming out of Liverpool really occurs there, that must be a crazy place to live. That's for sure.
It must be. Yeah.
You know,
well, I've got family in Liverpool, and even without the cryptids and UFOs,
there's
active, put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, he mentions the place Bold Street where people have time slips. They go to
that's right. Yeah.
Past
Bold Street.
Future. Yeah, Bold. BOLD Street. Yeah. That would be crazy. All of a sudden you're walking and then you find yourself in another landscape. Maybe back in Victorian England or maybe in the future.
Yeah.
and
Oh, right.
that's really strange.
There's been loads of them that he's reported on. It's been really good stories.
Oh, I need to look this guy up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom Sleeman. Yeah.
Yeah, send me the
And-
thing after, Deb.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you.
The
Sorry.
funny thing is similar stories of time slips like that were sent to me by a researcher in the other side of the world, in Peru, Lima. There's a neighborhood there in Lima where people have experienced some kind of time slippage, or the surroundings change, and they see like huge buildings, metallic, all around them, something that impossible. They couldn't be there. They never seen it before.
Yeah.
And it's like a total, completely alien landscape to them. Then they, thank God, they after a couple minutes, they find themselves back in the normal surroundings again. What that was, maybe they momentarily walked into another dimension, another parallel world. Who knows?
You don't know, do you?
A lot of reports like that.
I don't know if anybody else has had it, but I've had a couple of times over the years, when you're tired and you kind of relax your eyes and you do that sort of 50-yard stare, and it almost seems like the room's changing, like you can see wallpaper, like you've got plain walls, but you can see wallpaper appearing. And I've had that a couple of times.
Peripheral vision.
Yeah,
that's happened to me. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah. I look in the room, and then it seems like all of a sudden the room is like what would appear like 10 years from now is like falling apart or whatever. It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
I also heard that happens when you stare at yourself in the mirror for a long time.
Yeah.
Start changing.
I can't do that.
No, I can't. It freaks me out.
I can do it for like a minute or so.
You stare at it, and
probably a minute at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see stuff behind you. As soon as that point starts, I'm off.
When I was when I was a kid, I used to go to a barber shop that used to have those mirrors that you look at them and they go on forever.
Oh yeah.
You've seen those
mirrors or whatever they're called.
Oh my God! I just look at it, and there was like hundreds of me, moving to infinity. It will go to infinity. That always freaked me out every time I see that mirror. And I was a kid when I used to. And that's somebody wants to hear more about UK cases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see if I find any more.
Yeah, that was nickname, I think.
So have you ever done like a black mirror?
No.
Would you?
No.
Would you be tempted?
Black Mirror, can you just explain to me exactly what it is? I heard about it, but right now I can't. Go ahead.
Basically, it's just a black reflective surface, like a mirror.
Okay. Like an onyx type stuff.
Yeah, it's like using a crystal ball. You
just
can do
a
it
sheet
yourself.
of glass, isn't it?
Yeah, with black underneath.
You can either paint the back or put card up, or
I never done it. What could be the results?
I suppose it's like looking into a crystal ball. You kind of what you can see in it.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't.
They call it black mirror scrying. Like you could do it with a bowl of water or whatever.
I'll look into it. I'm going to send you an image of a recent, August 2016, a case from Yorkshire, England.
Oh, that's where I am.
A place called Halsham.
Holsham,
yeah. HLLSHAM.
Halsham, yeah.
Holsham.
Never heard of that.
No? Okay, well.
I live in Yorkshire. Mind you, Yorkshire's got 4 parts to it, so.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not saying
there are a lot of little villages around there, though.
There's the image of what they sell. It's like a wolf man.
You guys are going to like this one.
No.
Especially that Joe Weeks.
Yeah.
He said
Give me 1 second, just so I'll load it up.
She was driving with 2 friends near Halsham, and there was when they encountered what they described as a werewolf over 8 feet tall, with light gray fur.
Oh wow!
Look at them
Ooh.
hands.
Yeah, no. They could crush your skull then.
I was going to say, yeah, they
The
won't be.
beast got into all fours. Yeah. Then they rig her up to walk on two legs. It looked
Wow.
like a big dog, probably bigger than her car, but he had a human face. And then they ran off. This is from researcher Anthony Milne.
Right.
He wrote a book called Haunted Cars and Highways in the UK.
Oh, I've read that. I read that a long time ago, actually. Yeah, I need to read that again.
Yeah,
it's in there.
Ooh. Right, that is scary looking.
And is that Cryptodia?
That what? Yeah. Just
So what do you believe that to be then, Albert? What's your thought on this?
On the werewolf type creature?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an action. Werewolves are supposed to be humans that change into werewolves. Supposedly, the Hollywood take on it.
I don't believe
they're
that.
A full man. I think there are actual creatures or people out there that can transform themselves into bipedal wolves. This is in the Navajo the Navajo Indians and other Western state Indians. They have legends and they have what they call the skinwalker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is something similar to shapeshifter. They could shift into wolves or all different type of animals.
Yeah.
And they could be bipedal. They could be bears. They could be wolf, eagles.
Yeah.
But I think there might be some people that are able to do that. Not only in the Western United States, but in the UK or in France and Europe. They've been seen in Europe. They've been seen in a lot of them. They've been seen in Argentina and Brazil, which they're called lobisomen, which means wolfman. Lobisomen, and they've been reported there also.
Yeah, can I just jump in? So it's like I know a lot of people that don't really believe the transformation between man and wolf and back again.
I don't.
But then you have these shapeshifters and skinwalkers, which people have witnessed changing from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So,
according to the Navajo, the Indians, they have people with the shamans that are able to do that. Now, these creatures are seen in places like the UK or other places. Are they people that transform into that? I don't know. I don't know. Unless they come from another dimension, there's a break in between dimensions or a portal, and they're able to come in and briefly roam around our dimension, and then they go back to where they come from. They don't hang around long because you go out there looking for them, and where did they go? They're gone. And there are places where they don't really have places to hide. There's not big forests or anything like that.
But then,
I don't know.
But then you also, not even going to try and pronounce a name, where you have these like witch-like creatures that look like birds, and then people have captured them and tied them up, and the next day they just like an elderly female person. It's not hag. I can't remember the name. It's his Hispanic name.
Yeah,
Bruja, no? Bruja.
That's it. Yeah.
Bruja, like the witch, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
I heard such reports around the Mexican-U.S. border. There's a lot of reports of flying creatures similar to either huge birds with human-like faces.
Yeah. And then they've caught them and they've tied them up in a barn or wherever they've put them. They've gone back the next day to check on them, and it's just an elderly lady.
Yeah.
With like arms and legs and just looking, normal. Yeah. Not too impressed about
being tied up.
Roped up.
Yeah, I can't go out flying anymore these days.
Yeah.
They tie you up.
Yeah, it's like a hag. Yeah, ancient rabies just put, but I knew there was another name to it. I couldn't think what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
Bruja, and then they for some reason this creature has been seen a lot, like I say, in the Mexican-U.S. border in Texas and New Mexico and that area there.
yeah.
So yeah, and but there've
I
been
think there's
attacks. Yeah,
I think there's been some sort of crossover though, because I think the werewolf thing comes in because if people see a dog man, they've got nothing to reference it to. So the nearest thing that they can think
Yeah.
of is the horror film Werewolf, because that's what they look like. So
yeah.
I
I
think
think
that's
I think
werewolf.
it's gotta be the same thing, but maybe different variations. Like
Yeah,
just like Bigfoot, some Bigfoot are taller than others, bigger,
yeah,
thinner, different
Yeah.
yeah.
color. There's been reports of white Bigfoot. So
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
Because then you've got, like with the dogman, you've got the ones with the dog-like legs where the knee is low and at the back, like bends the opposite way. And then you've got the ones with human-like legs
yeah.
where,
Yeah.
so, and then
Here,
the hyena type.
here's I'm gonna send you an image of a
Yeah.
praying mantis. You guys heard of that? Um,
Yes.
type creature
Yes.
seen in Warwick, in the West Midlands, England.
Warwick.
Okay,
Oh
Warwick.
yeah,
and well,
Warwickshire.
Yeah. There's a lot of silent letters in the English. And
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
oh, sorry,
yeah.
No,
Oh,
I'm
it's fine.
sorry,
yeah.
but
There's a
so
place
this is
near me. I'll just tell you quickly. There's a place near me called Toaster, but it's written Tolcester. It's not
Dorchester. Yeah.
even. Yeah.
okay. I will never be able to pronounce it right. Oh well, but this is from 2020, July 16, 2020.
Oh right.
Wow, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
This ain't. This
Yeah.
isn't that far from me. Warwick's probably about an hour up the road from where I am.
Yeah.
We went to. Was it 2-3 years ago? We went to Warwick Castle.
So now I know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. No W in the middle.
Yeah, Warwick.
Right. 1
There
second.
you go. Here, there's the image there. That's the witness holding.
Yeah, I was going to
drawing.
say. I'm guessing that's the guy that
So
witnesses. I think I've heard or seen this report before. It might not be because I don't
Yeah.
think it is that.
I
I think it's a
got
lot
it.
longer than this.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got it from a researcher, actual Ukrainian, that he collects cases like that, and he
Yeah.
sent me a summary of it like that.
I
I
reckon-
translate cases from all over the world: Spanish, French,
Yeah.
Italian. That's why I get so many from different places.
I
Right.
recognise the picture of the bloke on there. That he looks really
You
familiar.
recognize it? Oh, okay.
I recognise him. Yeah, I've seen the picture before. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's creepy. I can't even understand how they're able to wander about on
See,
two legs.
But we've heard loads of reports of these being like, yeah, so I just looked on there, them being about 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
And there's reports here in the U.S. They've been encountered, and they, for some reason, they have the ability to become invisible in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh,
Or disappear in plain sight. Yeah.
Hmm.
freaky.
It is.
We've got 10 minutes and a load of questions.
Oh, right. We better start moving, Deb.
Yes. Are we
Sorry,
ready?
I'm just getting intrigued in all this.
No, it's brilliant. Right, Umbraman wants to know, where does Albert consider the most active places for the phenomena, or are they fairly evenly spread around the world?
There are many places that are spread out. I think the whole island of UK is pretty active.
Yeah.
This guy Slayman, he says that the island Britannia, or what they used to call it before, I forgot the name, Albion, I forgot.
Albion.
But yeah,
Yes,
Albion.
Albion.
or he said that there's always been something magical to it. A lot of like druids, Celtic mythology, and there's a lot of open portals maybe throughout the island. Scotland, Liverpool for sure, maybe other places. Another,
Yorkshire. There's a lot going on there.
In Yorkshire, yeah. There's another area that's very active every year in Argentina.
Right.
Right.
Wow. Chile. And in the U.S. is here and there. California is always very active.
Sort of happens in little pockets. It's like pockets of activity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or windows. Sometimes in one year there will be an area that all of a sudden there's 100 sightings there or encounters.
Yeah.
Then the next year, nothing.
No.
Yeah. I don't know why.
No, it's funny. Right, next question's from Umbraman. Which country does Albert consider the most transparent and open about the phenomena?
I think a lot of the South American countries.
Yeah.
Argentina, Brazil, Chile, all those countries are very transparent. If you go to Europe, there's a lot of activity, believe it or not, in Poland, Czech Republic. They're pretty transparent. I think France, they're pretty transparent.
Yeah.
And the UK, I'm not so sure. The US, you have a lot of these UAP things have been coming out lately. I don't know. But you have to, like I said, you have to be aware of the misinformation that might come out.
Yeah.
A lot of Eastern European countries, believe it or not, are very much transparent. And when it comes to this type of phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is from Rick Allen, and he would like to know, does Albert see any hierarchies within the alien races?
Well, like I mentioned before with that case, they seem to work together.
Yeah.
As far as hierarchies, in some instances, a lot of people think that the tall, more human-like entities control the shorter, gray-type creatures.
Yeah.
But then there's others that maybe the reptilian might be the higher at the top of the food chain, unknown. But I think there is, and it could be different type of aliens that we haven't even seen, or entities that we haven't even seen.
Right.
That is not something that I'm not completely sure.
No, thank you. It's like you said. If we've never seen them, we're not going to know. They might just be sending them down here, doing all the work for them.
Well, they might be like the royal family and have the little minions that they send out to.
Yeah, that's what. Like scouts.
Yeah.
Like it's your turn to go down to the UK this week. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Can we go somewhere nice?
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. Liverpool.
Well, they all speak funny.
I think this is your friend, Lovell Johnson. What advice, tips, and tricks can you give for young people wanting to research humanoid encounters in a meaningful way? It's a good question.
Try to get as many accounts as possible. Be open-minded, but be skeptical. Some people are going to try to make things up for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, nobody knows why.
If you know somebody that wants to talk about an incident they had, they usually make them speak, make them talk about it. Have people talk. It's better that you talk about it. Don't keep it in, because it eats you up. If you encounter something like that and you never talk about it, make sure they talk about it, and try to collect cases from all over the world. Try to have connections.
Yeah.
US, UK, France, Europe, South America, Australia. Yeah. A lot of weird stuff down there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Oh, it's a good question. Answered. Well done. Thank you. Nickname wants to know, what are Albert's top compelling beings or humanoids, and why?
Top compelling beings, like the type of there's, believe it or not, reports of giant, not even 4 meters. I'm talking reports of entities 7 meters, 8 meters tall. In Spain, there have been several cases for some reason of entities that gigantic in nature, humanoid type.
Yeah.
And I mean, encountering something like that is like encountering, like back in the Greek gods, when they.
Yeah.
There's a report from Greece about the motorists driving on the road, and then suddenly a figure at least 20 foot tall crossed the road with one stride just over the car. It was a gigantic figure. Now, where did they come from? Well, I mean, did it come in a craft? Can you imagine how big that craft would have been?
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Mind you, craft the size of aircraft carriers have been witnessed. So I'm sure if they can get to that size and propel themselves through the sky, there could be bigger ones than that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and all without being seen.
Yeah, it's all scary stuff.
It is. Right, next two questions are both from Nickname, and she would like to know where in the world would try again. Where in the world would Albert like to investigate?
I like to see more reports coming out of China. For some reason, there's you don't hear too much stuff. You hear cases, but there's in my files there's not that many humanoid cases from there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. I know there are groups there investigated, but for some reason you never hear about these cases in the West. I mean, they stay there, like in Japan. There's cases there, but Korea, in those areas there's cases, but they don't make it to the West.
Do you think it's because of the government? They have a lot of control over there.
I don't know. In China, I'm sure it is. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know about Japan and Korea. Maybe they just don't share the information freely.
No.
Yeah.
And there's like other parts of Africa. There's got to be cases there too.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of cases out of South Africa, a lot of Egypt, Morocco. Then there's the central part of Africa there, Eastern Africa.
Yeah.
Which is like very few cases here and there, because of, I guess because religious belief and they're like superstitious.
Yes.
And they attribute this incident to something else.
Yes.
And they don't like to talk about it. A lot of American Indians that they don't talk about it. It's hard to get information from them.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Right, the last question we've got then is from Nickname again. And has Albert got any Men in Black cases?
Oh, yeah. And many of them. Recent ones, I'm trying to think. I can't think of one right at the top of my head, but I think most of these MIB cases might be, I'm sure they're related to the UFO incident, but I don't know if they're androids or they're aliens themselves or government agents. I don't know. I think there's a mixture there somehow.
Yeah.
Strange.
I know a lot, because a lot of the reports say that they look like they're uncomfortable in clothes, or the faces aren't right. They've got lipstick on to make them look like
makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all very strange. And they have
sorry.
weird coloured skin and odd. Just fascinating me though, Men in Black.
Yes, definitely.
It's very fascinating.
So that's creepy as well, though, because it's not knowing who they are.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry, I got stuck here. But yeah, all right.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed it a lot. Maybe you could do it another time. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll keep in contact. And
yes, we will.
Yeah,
guys, take
brilliant.
care of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Bye.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Have you finished there?
No, I think I'm joking today.
Okay.
Might not be a show on Friday. Oh.
It's all right. I'll carry
I'll
it.
definitely get Albert on again.
Yes.
I really can't talk tonight. Definitely get Albert on again and just cover the MIB cases, I think.
Yeah. We'll get some info off him to start with, and then we're not all kind of stopping and starting.
No, but that was good the way he did it, because as people were asking questions and he was bringing up certain subjects, then he was showing us.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad.
Excellent.
Just to let you guys know, we are going to be starting doing a podcast, which is going to be a pre-record. So it's just going to be me, Deb, and then whoever the guests are coming on. We're just going to talk about certain topics, certain subjects.
Yes.
And then it's just going to get uploaded onto YouTube. So it's going to be like just a visual podcast. We're still going to be doing this one.
Yes.
On a Friday. And the other one thrown in the middle. But don't even need to ask you the question, do I, Deb? What's happening Friday?
Ooh, it's a Halloween special.
And how many people are going to be on?
About 500.
506.
6.
And
Yes.
we're not going to tell you who they are until Friday.
Yes.
Some of you in the chat already know, obviously. Some of you don't. So you need to join us at 7:30.
Yes.
You also need to get dressed up. And I don't mean in leather as a gimp.
No.
No, it's going to be Halloween fancy dress.
Yes.
So, and what are you going to be talking about, Deb? What are you going to be talking about?
What am I going to be talking about?
Yeah.
No,
I am. So I've actually got an incident from last Saturday when I did the TikTok live. Completely forgot about it. Is when me and Becky went out to.
Yes, well, we're not talking about that now, are we? We're saving that for
I'll just say quickly. It was about
It
was about the church ruins, and something really weird happened while we was there, but we didn't notice. We didn't realise till afterwards. So we'll start with that one. I think. Yeah. So thank you everyone for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the great questions. And we will see you. What time, Deb?
7:30 on Friday.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Look at you checking. You ain't got a clue, have you?
There's just something down here that I'm keeping my eye on. It's wait a minute. It's 7:30 on Friday.
Yeah, Deb, they're all 7:30.
Stop trying to catch me out.
Right, just checking.
Yeah.
Right, so on that lovely wind up now, we will see you on Friday, 7:30. Don't be late. And those, those that know, don't be late.
Yes.
See you then.
See you
Good
later.
night, everyone.
Night.